Hello, I'm Brian Grills, and I'm going to be brewing up a cup of coffee and talking about one of my most favourite films, the Blair Witch Project. Now, I think the Blair Witch Project is one of the scariest films I've ever seen, because you're using your own imagination to tap a lean in a Volvic bottle. We used this bottle hundreds of times. It's not just a single use. The Blair Witch Project relies on the viewer to draw their own conclusions and work out what's happening. Films like A Nightmare on Elm Street and all the rest of it, always rely on the special effects and the makeup and jump scares, etc, etc. But for me, because I'm using my own imagination with the Blair Witch, also using my super manly masculine Paw Patrol beaker, and of course my Nescafe 3-in-1, you're using, in my mind, you're using your own imagination, your own thoughts as to what the Blair Witch is, which I think is much more scarier, because the recesses of, well, especially my mind, is a very dark place. Let's do this button up, don't want to be too casual, do we? It's one of those sort of films that's sort of it starts out with the three characters. There's two men and a young woman, and they're going around this, I think it's Burkittsville in Maryland. As usual, I'm as well researched, I'm well researched, I know what I'm talking about. And they go around interviewing these people, local people, about the legend of the Blair Witch, and they're all saying how scary the Blair Witch is, and and that people have got telling stories. They're doing it in like a documentary style for their class, their studies that they're in, this particular course they're doing. So they venture up into the mountains, the wilderness, the trees, the forest, to where this Blair Witch lived. And and they start off, they're camping out and they're doing their thing, and then it all starts to go awry when the Blair Witch catches up to them. So you never see the Blair Witch. You never see the Blair Witch. You do see the infighting between the three, the conflict between the three, as the pressure starts to increase, it starts to heat up. The group eventually starts to unravel. The Blair Witch is sort of toying with them, is sort of shaking them down and giving them a hard time, and it causes conflict and it causes tension, and then they get lost in the wilderness. And as we all know, the wilderness of in the United States, there's forests that go on for hundreds of thousands of square miles, and if you get lost, there's a chance you'll never be seen again. It's as simple as that. That's not being dramatic or adding hyperbole or anything like that. That is a fact. If you go missing in one of these forests, because they're so vast, there's a chance you just simply will vanish. So they get lost, and it's they're trying to sort of find their way back, and meanwhile the Blair Witch is really giving them some pressure, giving them some heat. They're trying. The young woman is trying to document the experience for the class, the study that she's doing. But the other two are sort of losing interest, and they're starting to unravel in their own minds, because they don't know how to combat this Blair Witch problem. Eventually, of course, I can't remember what year the Blair Witch Project came out now. It was in the 90s, I believe. I could look into it, couldn't I? But what would be the point of that? I can't even tell you the actors and actresses are, really. I could pick up my phone and I could quickly look, couldn't I? But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to stir my coffee. I'm going to sit in the boot of my car, my expensive boot, where I can sit and I can make coffee. It's all very convenient. It's a nice comfy place to sit, you know. You can sit here on the back of the car, feet on the road, because I am at the side of the road, you know, brewing up in my expensive boot there. But anyway, so the Blair Witch Project is a good film. I find it particularly scary because it relies on my imagination as to what the Blair Witch could be, which your own imagination's a terrifying place if you let it run wild. But that being said, it does sort of follow like a documentary style. These three young people are, you know, sort of documenting the filmmaking process and it's mapping out where they're going to go and what they're going to do, and then they get lost, and then it all just starts to unravel and go awfully wrong for them. Yeah, it's well worth a watch if you've not seen the Blair Witch by now. I mean, crikey, it's been out 30 years. Again, talking about an old-timey film, that, you know, because I like what I know and I know what I like, you know. So that's how I do my life. I like to watch films that I know. I don't know what that says about me really, but there we go. So the Blair Witch Project, give it a watch. Let me know what you think. If you've seen it, let me know. If you haven't seen it but are going to, let me know. If you couldn't care less either way, then let me know, or don't, really. It's entirely up to you. I, however, am going to sit and think about the Blair Witch. I could actually watch it later on. I could watch it later on today. Just have a recap. It's a good film. I've got it on DVD, of course, and I do have it. I think I bought it as well on Prime. I'll have to have a look. Because you know what it's like. What they need to do on Prime is they need to categorise, you know, sort of TV shows and films, and then they need to either do it alphabetically or by genre, or, you know, so horror, comedy, action, whatever, you know. Because you scroll through and you're pressing the button and it's going and it's going and it's going and it's going, and you know, and then, you know, if there's stuff your husband or wife or whatever has bought, that's in there as well. So it's not like you could just go to your own, what you've purchased via your own profile. No, it's all just lumped in together in what do you call it, sort of purchase order, really. Whenever you purchased it is when it appears. So there we go. So I'm going to sit here, slowly get my face burned off by the sun, which has decided to come out, which is nice. I'm going to drink my coffee out of my super manly, masculine Paw Patrol plastic beaker, and just chill out and just chill out really, and just sit here and in the boot of the car and be comfortable. So yeah, watch the Blair Witch Project. It's good. I'm Bright Grills. Thank you for watching. Catch you on the next one.